I've bought a new car, but it's not here, it's in the US. Right, so I have hinted in the past that something was happening, and I've even revealed a few details, but I didn't want to give away too much information before we had it all sorted and locked down. But I can reveal now that we actually have the car, so I can say that I have bought a car in the States to do 6 summer with in June. And yeah, that's only 3.5 months away, I guess, to the middle of June. So it does not feel like enough time, to be honest, right now. But yes, I have bought a 1981 Ford Fairmont Futura Sports Coupe. It's a bit of a mouthful, but a very cool car, and I am really excited about this. All right. So, yeah, this is nuts, actually. This is kind of nuts. I did not think, this is a bucket list thing, but I'm also doing it to help, expose the channel to more viewers, obviously in the US. US has a big market. Let's get over there, do some stuff. And I think it's something that's going to appeal to both US and Australian viewers, and it's going to be very cool. But yeah, how did this all come about? Well, as I've mentioned previously, I've been to the States 4 times for Drag Week, and in those times I've met so many wonderful people, and so many of those people I'm still in contact with today, some of them on a weekly or daily basis. So yeah, just the drag and drive crowd over in the States, it's like a family, and we seem to all get on so well with a common purpose of just driving our street cars out the track and racing them and doing it all day after day. And I love drag and drive events like Drag Week, like Drag Challenge, Sick Summer, Sick Week, all those. They have like 30 drag and drive events over in the States. It is huge. So yeah, I was talking to one of my mates, Brian, who I talk to quite regularly. He's a big fan of Carnage and of Scotty's Garage, and we've met at Drag Week in the States, and he reached out. Like I said, we've been talking quite often. And anyway, so we were talking about some stuff, and I mentioned that I was keen to come back over, because he asked, when are you coming back over? I'm like, I'm really keen to come over in the next year or two. He said, well, I've got some cars here. If you want to come over, use one of my cars. I'm like, oh, dude, and he's got some cool cars. He's got like a 73 Nova and a Ranchero and a little Triumph Spitfire thing, like a little convertible. He's got some cool cars, but I'd be really uncomfortable using another person's car. What happens? What if I get T-boned at an intersection or something goes wrong? I'd feel really terrible if something went wrong, and their car got damaged while I was, in control of it for that, period of time. I said, it's really generous. I'm really, thankful for the offer, but I'd like to buy something, but it's really hard. You got to have somewhere to store it and that sort of thing. And he said, well, start looking. We got somewhere you can store it and that sort of thing. Now, Brian lives in Minnesota, which is one of the northern states in the US, and just below the border of Canada, basically. And it's quite cold and snowy up there, and it's also probably not the best place to go looking for cars. But anyway, I jumped on Marketplace, put my location up there in Minnesota, and started looking at cars. And I had thoughts about different types of cars, like what would I want to build. There was some thoughts of getting a Crown Vic and doing something with that. But then I thought about it, I'm like, Crown Vic's just a big, heavy car. Yes, you could do things with it, but why would I be doing it? The only reason I'd be doing it is because they're kind of a car at the moment because of what Cletus has done. And I'm like, yeah, it's not enough of a reason for me. So what would I want to do? I want to do something that I could put an Aussie influence to, which, let's face it, what's the best motor that we have made in Australia in the last 40 years? It's got to be the Barra. And I know people are going to groan. People are going to groan about the Barra, but the reason you groan is because it is so good. It's so good and it's so easy to make horsepower with that people are going to be like, oh, it's just another barrow. Well, in the States, it's not just going to be another barrow, is it? So what would I stick a barrow in the States? You know, want to stick it in something light, probably Ford. And I was like, you know, I don't want to do another barrow Mustang. I mean, the Skid Factory and Benny's Custom Works, they did it amazingly. They did an amazing job when they built Ben's Mustang over there in the States. And like, I could never do that on my own in terms of like to the level that they went. They went over there and they smashed it. They smashed it out of the park. But it certainly gave me some ideas because, you know, that Barra Fox body Mustang, that was pretty cool. It went 850s with ease. They went 830s after drag week over there, which was, you know, kind of naughty because the car's not teched for that fast. But the car is really capable. So then I thought, there's another Fox body, and it's called the Fairmont. It is the Fox body platform, so same platform, same mechanical platform as the Ford Mustang, but it's a boxy 80s car that is just quirky cool. I look at them and I go, wow, they are so quintessentially 80s. You know, you see them in movies all the time. They were driver ed cars, driver education cars in the US. So a lot of Americans that was the first car they ever drove. You know, they drove them at school during driver's ed and that sort of thing. They used them as cop cars. They used them as all sorts of things. They were built as a lightweight economy car, you know, post-oil crisis. So lightweight, smallish motors. Now they came in 4, 6 or V8 versions. But what I was most, you know, impressed about is the size of the engine bay. And that's why people use them for race cars. And they say, well, Fox body Mustangs for starters, you know, because Mustangs are cool, you know, in that they're two-door coupes, sports, that sort of thing. So, you know, a lot of guys use them because they have a massive engine bay that can fit just about any engine. You want to put a big block Chev in one? Sure, go for it. Big block Chev, big block Ford, small block Ford. Pretty much any engine you can name will fit in a Fox body Mustang, right? Well, the Fox body Fairmont has the same engine bay. Same engine bay. So, yep, and they come with a straight 6. Well, they came with a 4 and a 6 or an 8. But the one we bought has a 3.3 litre 6-cylinder in it. So your good old 200 cubic inch 6-cylinder that all Aussies know and love because we saw it for years through the late 60s. You know, those 200 cubers, I mean, they were in, you know, Cortinas as well. So we know that engine quite well. And it is the great-grandfather of the Barra. They still use the same main bearings and rod bearings, I believe, but certainly the main bearings are the same as the Barra. You know, it's the same bottom end, basically. So anywhere one of those engines fits, a Barra is going to fit. And we already know the Barra fits because, as I said, Skid Factory boys did it. There's also been another guy, Fonzie, over in the States, has actually done a Barra in a Fairmont sedan, and that thing is really cool. It runs mid-8s. So it has been done. I'm not breaking new ground, but the car I've bought is a sports coupe. So again, it's quirky cool. It has the most crazy sort of side profile. You look at it and you go, wow, that, like, it's ugly, but it's cool. You know, it's got that massive B pillar. It looks like it should have been a ute. In fact, they made them in ute form in the States. They were called the Durango, the Fairmont Durango, and they only made, well, the numbers vary. Some people say 200 or 300, some say 800, but they reckon the 200 is closer to the figure. Super rare, and you look at the side line of the car and you go, yep, I can see that being a ute. Obviously, I'm not going to cut the roof off and make it a ute, even though that would be cool. But it's a two-door sports coupe. Yes, it's only a 200 cube 6, but it's got a C4 auto in it. The diff is good enough for what I need to do at the moment. However, It's easy to bolt an 8.8 into one, and 8.8s, I mean, they use them in all the Fox body Mustangs, so they are a strong diff. Those things will handle 1,000 horsepower or more when you build them right. So, yeah. So the potential is there. So the idea is that I fly in, well, have a Barra delivered there. I've already talked to some people about that, mainly the guys at Dominator Motorsports, who import Barras into the US by the container load. So I'm going to get a Barra delivered to Minnesota, and we're going to fit it into the car, hopefully bolt it up to the C4 and go with that. Now, some people say the C4 is going to explode when you put a turbo Barra in front. Well, it's not going to be a turbo Barra to start off with. It's going to be a naturally aspirated Barra to start off. And I know people are going to be confused, like, why would you do that? Well, for the exact reasons why a Barra is so good. A turbo Barra makes so much horsepower that to support all that horsepower, you need a transmission that's probably worth $5,000 or more, a rear end that's worth several $1,000s, a tail shaft, the turbo, the intercooler, the piping, the injectors, all that stuff is big dollars to support the horsepower of the Barra. I don't have the budget, not in the next 3 months. Maybe in 12 months we can do this, and that is the plan, to go back next year and do the turbo side of things. But for the first year, we go over naturally aspirated Barra and go out and run, well, we're predicting high 12s, maybe low 13s, but I'm hoping high 12s. And you're going, how could that be? Well, for starters, the cars are only 2,800 pounds. They're light. And I can confirm it. The previous owner of the car, and I'll get to that, sent us a photo of it on a weighbridge. And I think the figure is 2,840 pounds. So they are light cars. And the factory 6 only makes 95 horsepower. Well, we're going to triple that with the Barra. Even naturally aspirated, it will triple the horsepower. Maybe put some gears in the rear end, and I think we're pretty solidly into the 12-second zone. And let's face it, a 12-second street car is no slouch. So we could be driving around in the States with a Barra-powered Fairmont for not a lot of money, running 12s, and probably getting 25 mile a gallon. That would be cool. At the moment, the car only goes 17 mile a gallon, and I'll tell you why I know that. So, getting back to Brian. So Brian has gone, all right, let's find a car for you. And so I've started looking at cars, using Marketplace, using Minnesota as my focal point, putting the ring out to about 250 miles. And I got to say, I struggled. I found a couple cars. We nearly bought a wagon, a Fairmont wagon. That was very close. Nearly bought that car. But the guy said, I did the deal with the dude. I'm like, oh, I will give you X amount of dollars and I'll send it to you straight away. Deal done. Oh, someone's coming to look at it tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, tell them it's sold. I'll send you the money now. Oh, no, I've already agreed that he'd come look at it. I'm like, okay. Because I knew as soon as that happened, it was going to be sold. The guy would see it, lay down the money, and he would use my offer to cement the deal. If the guy come in and lowballed him and say, well, this guy's going to give me X amount anyway, and so he would have used me to firm up his other deal. Anyway, it is the way it works when you're buying cars. So anyway, I looked and I found cars. I found some Mercuries and some stuff like that. The Mercuries are the sister to the Fords. They're slightly more upmarket, I believe. But yeah, same body shape, but 4 headlight fronts like the Fairmont. So their sedans got the 4 headlight front like the Futura did. So the Futuras get the 4 headlight front, and in the Fairmonts usually they only get a 2 headlight front with side markers just inside the headlights. So the Mercuries get the 4 headlight front, and some other little adornments and stuff like that. But yeah, so anyway, looking around, and I was starting to get a bit disheartened because I'd sort of missed out on some cars. And I'm there at Summernats, and I'm like, just kept looking at this one sports coupe, and I'm like, price was close, but I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to reach out to this guy and see what we can do. So reach out to Ken, and Ken watches the stuff now because, you know, here's me reaching out to this guy going, hey mate, I'm interested in your car. What's the best you can do? And he gives me a figure and I go, I'm pretty close to that, but I don't actually have the money, that exact figure right now. I'm a little bit short. Can I send you a deposit? And he said, oh, so where are you from, blah, blah, blah. And laid it all out, laid out the full story. I'm from Australia, blah, blah, blah. If you know any Australian car guys, you know, ask them if they know who Scotty from Street Machine is. And he comes back to me and goes, have you got a YouTube channel? I'm like, yeah, we've got two, you know, Street Machine and Scotty's Garage. I'm doing this for Scotty's Garage. And so he's like, oh, wow, I've been checking out some of your stuff. And is this going to be on the channel? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, wow. Dude, I will hold this for you until the end of February if you want. I'm like, wow, just so amazingly generous. Like, who does that? Who holds that for a guy you've never met on the other side of the world? But I guess, you know, I'm easy to check up on, you know, so I'm in front of the camera every week. If he wanted to give me a code word, I could have mentioned it on camera. So, yeah, I think he understood I was fair income, and yeah, I've got the money together, and Brian has gone and picked it up. It's quite interesting actually, because Ken obviously doesn't do a lot of Facebook stuff. He has, you know, one friend on Facebook, which is his wife. So usually that's a flag from a buyer's perspective. So, you know, that's usually a big red flag. If a guy's only got, you know, one friend on Facebook, you usually would run a million miles. But again, Ken sounded super genuine. In the conversations we had, he's a massive fan of Fox Body Mustangs. Got a couple cool Mustangs up there. And he's in North Dakota, of all places. So even further north than Brian. And, you know, I'm contacting him during summer nats, and over there it's the dead of winter. And they've got 4 foot of snow on the ground. So nothing's moving, no one's going nowhere. Cars are all locked in barns. Like, so this car was, you know, stored away in a shelter, and yeah, well looked after. So thank you, Ken. But then, as I said, Brian has gone up. So we've worked it out. Worked out a date that Brian could go up. Brian has got one of his mates to go up with him. Originally they were going to take a trailer up and tow the car back, but I think there was some issues with the trailer or whatever. So they ended up just driving up and jumping in the car, and Brian jumped in the car and drove it back 340 miles from North Dakota.
Here we go. $340 miles to go. Keep you updated. Oh, let me turn this booming system down. They come with an 8-track and a few tapes. 130 miles in of 340. Front shocks might need a little work. Maybe a balance on the tires, but everything's working out smooth. Gas gauge doesn't work. Let's see, mile an hour, 65 to 75. Clock works. Cruise works. Runs down the freeway quite smooth.
Just wow. I mean, that's some confidence. And to be honest, the car did it without a problem. The car is that good. So it has no rust in it, clean, straight, has a few little dents and scratches, just little stuff. But, you know, it's not going to win any trophies it shows, but interior is in really good condition. The exterior is in really good condition. We've had it up on a hoist already.
It's a hard one. You got to turn the whole thing. Forward. Perfect. That's it.
There you go.
Thanks. But we'll figure that out tomorrow. Seals are nice too. Crazy.
It has some oil leaks, so something we're going to have to deal with. Probably deal with by yanking that motor out and sticking a barra in it. But the transmission's covered in oil and that from a rocker cover leak or something. So some stuff that we have to deal with. But yeah, nothing that we can't deal with. The car has power steering, air conditioning, cruise control. The cruise control works amazingly. You know, the car is 1981. You know, so it's over 40 years old. Cruise control still works, and we're talking 80s cruise control. It has a tilt steering column. It is a bench seat car with a split bench and that sort of thing. The hood lining's missing, but the cardboard that holds it all there is still there, so we can get that covered pretty easily. But yeah, the car is in remarkably good condition. It has 15-inch wheels on it, and the wheels don't actually look too bad, so I don't have to spend any money on, you know, putting fancy wheels on it or anything straight up anyway. Yes, they're only 4-lug or 4-stud wheels, but, you know, at our sort of end of the performance spectrum, that's not going to be a problem either. But yeah, we have a car, and it's, like I said, it's kind of cool, quirky cool, and I think it's going to be an awesome project. So, like I said, this year the idea is to go over, do a natural aspirated barra conversion. I've got some feelers out to some sponsors to help with some stuff. I don't want to mention names yet, I don't want to preempt things, but I've had positive feedback from some people, and so I'll let you know about that when those things get signed off. But the idea is, yeah, just go over there, plug in a natural aspirated barra, go and do 6 summer. Will we hook up the aircon? I'm hoping we would, because it'll be middle summer and probably be nice to have working aircon. You know, most barras, well, almost all barras have aircon, so let's do that. Let's hook up the power steer. Let's hook up the cruise control, especially if things go the way I'm hoping. I'll be able to do all of those things quite easily. And then the idea is obviously use the factory C4 to start off with, and that should handle the, well, let's face it, a standard barra makes about 270 horsepower, thereabouts, at the flywheel. We're hoping to bump it up to about 300. That should, like I said, get us in the 12s, but it won't overpower the C4 transmission. And the rear end, it's only got a 7.5-inch rear end in it at the moment, so hopefully we should be able to work with all that stuff, certainly for this first year, and then next year it'll be more of a full court press in that turbo barra, turbo 400 probably, 8.8 rear end, custom tail shaft, all that stuff, and it will need a roll cage because it'll end up being seriously fast. Well, you know, I can build a 1,000 horsepower barra pretty easily. I've done it a couple of times now, so yeah. I think, yeah, with 1,000 horsepower, well, 1,000 rear wheel horsepower barra, the car's going to be mid 8-second car. But that's a next year thing. That's 2026. Let's deal with 2025 to start off with. 2025, let's just go out there and run 12s and have a good time, because it is a social event as well, as much as it is a competition event. Six Summer is definitely a good social event. And if for any reason that the barra thing, like we get over there and pull the engine out and go to put the barra in and something goes wrong, we can always plug the standard motor back in it, fix whatever leaks it has, and go do what they call sick ward, which is when you follow along with the event, and that would still be a cool thing to do. Obviously that's not plan A, but like I said, you never know. You can never predict what's going to go wrong. So, you know, you end up with a cracked block or whatever. There's a whole bunch of things that could go wrong, you know, when you're doing an engine install. And if things go wrong, all right, we might have to pivot and do it another way and save the cool stuff for next year. But like I said, plan A right now, fly over, put the barrow in, go and do 6 Summer, and I think that'd be cool. And the idea would be do daily updates of the install, daily updates from 6 Summer, follow along with some of the other Aussies that are going. I won't mention names just yet, but I believe there's some other Aussies going. I don't want to preempt their own things at the moment until, you know, we can get confirmation, but it should be pretty cool. It should be a lot of fun, should be pretty cool, and I think we'll have a good time, and I think you guys will enjoy the content. So yeah, we've done a thing, and hopefully we're going to do more things, bigger things, and it should be very cool. So I hope you guys like the idea. I think the Fairmont, I've fallen in love with the Fairmont thing, to be honest. I've done so much research on Fairmonts in the recent months, and I kind of really dig them, you know, like, yeah. And square body Falcons here in Australia have certainly become a lot more popular. It's something I've noticed while I'm like doing all this. I'm like, all of a sudden, XD, XE, XF Falcons are all super popular. Yes, they are not Fox body cars, but you can sort of see the family resemblance. And yeah, they're a big popular thing here in Australia, putting barrows in XD, XE, XF Falcons, or what I call square bodies. Yeah, they're super popular right here in Australia right now. So we're going to do our own thing in the States. It's going to be fun. And I hope you guys come along for the ride, and I hope you guys are very interested in what we're planning, because yeah, like I said, it should be very cool. It should be a lot of fun. Right, so there's that. I just wanted to do some housekeeping. Oh shit, I was supposed to do a draw. I'll do the draw next week. So we've got a tool draw to do. It's up there. I will do that, but I'm not prepared right yet now, so I need to cut out all the names, put them in the barrel and draw the thing. But we'll do that next week. I'll make sure of that. T-shirts. You've seen I've got new T-shirts. My older T-shirts, I'm going through a readjustment on the store at the moment. So what I'm going to do is, for the next 2 weeks, the original T-shirts like this one, so the original OG Scotty's Garage T-shirt, the Dad's Ute shirt, the Lockdown Wagon shirt, 12s for 2K, all of those will be available for the next 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I'm taking them off the store for the moment until so they're all made to order. Okay, so this is the thing. They're all made to order, and it's taking up a lot of my time arranging those orders and go and pick them up and all that sort of stuff. So what I'm going to do is, for the next 2 weeks, if you want one of those shirts, order them now and we'll get them made up. But after 2 weeks, then it's just going to have to wait until I get them printed and have them in stock down the track. That could be a few months. So if you want a shirt before June, order it in the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, grab yourself a Scotty's Garage, one of the gear design T-shirts. We have them in stock, and they will be in stock constantly from here on. So yeah, order your T-shirts now. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until well after June, I think, because I'm not going to have time to do that in the lead up to this whole 6 Summer thing. So yeah, things are happening. Cool things are happening, and I hope you enjoy it. And let me know your thoughts. But you'll see it all on future episodes of Scotty's Garage. Before I go, just want to do a big shout out to to Brian and his wife and his daughter. They're massive supporters and fans of the channel, and it's amazing to me that, you know, Brian would just go and pick up a car 340 miles away. So, dude, massive shout out to you and your wife for supporting me in this madness. And to Ken up there in North Dakota, mate, thank you for selling us such a wonderful car. You know, I'm really happy with the car, and really looking forward to doing what we're going to do with it. You know, we're not going to ruin it, but yeah, I hope you're happy with what happens with the car from here on. But yeah, Brian and Ken, legends. Catch you next time.